The inheritance notice arrived on the worst day of Marcus Reed's life. He'd just been fired from his job at the quantum engineering lab for excessive creative interpretation of safety protocols, his apartment's environmental systems had failed, and his synthetic cat had developed an inexplicable obsession with trying to eat his shoes. The last thing he needed was a message from a lawyer about his grandmother's will. Marcus hadn't spoken to his grandmother Elena in 15 years, not since she disappeared into deep space on what the media called a delusional quest to prove the existence of advanced alien civilizations. The scientific community had labeled her a crackpot. His parents had called her dangerous. Marcus had simply missed her. Mr. Reed, the holographic lawyer, Mr. Patel, adjusted his spectacles. Your grandmother's final request was quite specific. The coordinates must be delivered to you in person, and you must claim your inheritance within 48 hours. Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying the translucent figure floating above his desk. What coordinates? What inheritance? The last I heard, Gran lost everything funding her expeditions. That information is part of the sealed instructions. Mr. Patel's expression remained professionally neutral. However, I am authorized to tell you that your grandmother's final discovery was significant. 2 hours later, Marcus found himself following an automated guide drone through the depths of an abandoned private spaceport on the outskirts of New Singapore. The air smelled of ozone and neglect. Their footsteps echoed off metal walls that hadn't seen maintenance in decades. Your grandmother purchased this facility through a series of shell companies, Mr. Patel explained, hurrying to keep up. The paperwork was buried under so many layers of bureaucracy that it took our AI 3 months to unravel it all. The drone led them to a massive hangar door, its surface covered in warning signs in at least 12 different languages. As they approached, ancient mechanisms groaned to life. The door began to rise, revealing darkness beyond. Oh my God, Marcus whispered. The ship hung in the shadows like a sleeping leviathan. Its hull defied conventional geometry, curved surfaces flowing into impossible angles that hurt his eyes if he looked at them too long. The metal, if it was metal, seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. It was beautiful, alien, and absolutely terrifying. Congratulations, Mr. Reed, Mr. Patel said quietly. You are now the owner of humanity's first confirmed piece of extraterrestrial technology. Marcus approached the vessel slowly, his heart pounding. As he drew closer, patterns began to emerge on the hull, subtle markings that might have been writing or circuit diagrams or art. They seemed to shift and change when he wasn't looking directly at them. There's more, Mr. Patel added. Your grandmother left this. He handed Marcus a small data crystal. She said you'd know what to do with it. The crystal contained a single video file. When Marcus played it, his grandmother's face appeared, older than he remembered, but with the same fierce intelligence in her eyes. Marcus, my boy. If you're seeing this, then I was right about everything, and I was wrong about how much time I had left. The ship is called the Starchild. It's not just a vessel, it's a key to understanding our place in the universe. And now it's yours, along with everything I learned about its origins and purpose. She leaned closer to the camera. But be careful. There are others who've been searching for this ship for a very long time. Some of them aren't human. Some of them don't have humanity's best interests at heart. You'll need help. Find Rin Miura, she was my chief engineer. Trust her. And Marcus? Elena smiled. I'm sorry I left. I hope someday you'll understand why. The message ended. Marcus stood in silence, staring at the ship, his ship now. The Starchild. After a moment, he turned to Mr. Patel. How do I find this Rin Miura? Already taken care of, a voice called from behind them. Marcus turned to see a woman emerge from the shadows. She was older than him by at least a decade, with silver-streaked black hair and eyes that suggested she'd seen things most humans weren't meant to see. Elena told me you'd come. I've been maintaining the Starchild's basic systems, but there's so much we still don't understand. What do you understand? Marcus asked. Rin's expression was grim. That your grandmother didn't die of natural causes. That this ship is part of something bigger than any of us imagined. And that we have less than a week to figure out how to fly it before they come looking for it. Marcus looked back at the Starchild, its impossible geometry seeming to pulse slightly in the dim light. He thought about his grandmother, about 15 years of silence and questions, about the look in her eyes in that final message. He thought about all the times he'd dreamed of following in her footsteps, of proving that humanity's place was among the stars. Then we better get started, he said. Rin smiled. Welcome aboard, Captain Reed. The Starchild waited in the darkness, its secrets still hidden, its purpose still unknown. But for the first time in 15 years, Marcus felt like he was exactly where he needed to be. The interior of the Starchild defied every principle of spacecraft design Marcus had ever studied. There were no sharp angles, no obvious control panels, no designated bridge or engine room. Instead, the corridors curved organically, their walls seeming to shift and flow like liquid metal frozen in time. Your grandmother believed the ship was partially biological, Rin explained as she led Marcus through the twisting passages. Not alive exactly, but aware. The systems adapt to their users over time. Marcus ran his hand along a wall, feeling a subtle warmth beneath his fingers. Is that why nothing's labeled? No controls, no interfaces. Watch this. Rin pressed her palm flat against the wall. The surface rippled, and a holographic display materialized in the air before them. Complex symbols danced and shifted, reorganizing themselves into patterns that almost made sense before dissolving again. The ship's trying to communicate, but it's speaking a language that evolved in a completely different context from human thought. How did Gran make any progress with it? She didn't, not really. Not until. Rin hesitated. Not until the dream started. Before Marcus could ask what she meant, an alarm blared through the ship. The walls pulsed with red light, and the holographic displays flickered wildly. Security breach, Rin snapped, already running. Someone's trying to force their way in through the maintenance airlock. They sprinted through the shifting corridors, the ship seemingly guiding their path by brightening certain passages while darkening others. When they reached the airlock, they found 3 figures in sleek corporate security armor attempting to bypass the lock. Ascendant Technologies, Rin growled. They've been trying to claim the ship ever since your grandmother disappeared. Arguing that any alien artifacts should be considered corporate property under the New Frontier Act. The intruders noticed them. Mr. Reed, the leader called out, her voice distorted by her helmet speakers. We're here to offer you a very generous compensation package for this vessel. Much more than any private individual could hope to manage on their own. The ship's not for sale, Marcus replied. Then we'll take it by force. The security team raised their weapons. That's when the ship intervened. The walls around the airlock suddenly liquefied, flowing like quicksilver. The corporate agents shouted in alarm as the metal wrapped around their weapons, yanking them away and absorbing them into the hull. In seconds, they were disarmed. What the hell? The leader stumbled back. That's impossible. Marcus felt a strange sensation in his mind, like a whisper in a language he'd never learned but somehow understood. Without thinking, he pressed his hand against the wall. The ship responded instantly, sealing the airlock and ejecting the intruders back into their own vessel. How did you do that? Rin stared at him. I'm not sure. It was like the ship told me what it could do, and I just agreed. Rin's eyes widened. The neural interface. It's accepting you as its pilot. She grabbed his arm. We need to get to the central chamber. Now. The ship led them to a vast spherical room that Marcus was certain couldn't have fit within the vessel's external dimensions. In the center floated a chair, or something like a chair, formed from the same flowing metal as the rest of the ship. Your grandmother called this the synchronization hub, Rin explained. She thought it was meant to fully link a pilot's consciousness with the ship's systems, but she could never get it to work properly. Marcus approached the chair. As he got closer, it began to reshape itself, adjusting to match his exact proportions. The whispers in his mind grew stronger. What if it does work, he asked. What if it works and we find out why they really want this ship? Then we better be ready for whatever comes next. Rin checked the readings on her portable scanner. Because if Ascendant Technologies is willing to risk an armed incursion, they must know something we don't. Marcus took a deep breath and sat in the chair. The metal flowed around him, not restraining but supporting, connecting. The whispers became clearer, resolving into images, impressions, understanding. The ship was trying to tell him something. Something about a signal, a countdown, a choice humanity would have to make. And underneath it all, a sense of urgent purpose that his grandmother had recognized 15 years ago. Rin, he said quietly, I know why Gran never came back. The ship showed her something. Something big enough to make her sacrifice everything to keep this ship safe until the right moment. And what moment is that? Before Marcus could answer, every surface in the chamber lit up with pulsing symbols. A new alarm sounded, different from the security warning, deeper, more resonant. The ship's systems surged with energy. Signal detected, an alien voice echoed through Marcus's mind, speaking English but with cadences that no human throat could produce. Protocol initiated. The testing begins. The Starchild's engines, dormant for decades, roared to life. Through his connection with the ship, Marcus felt space itself bend around them as ancient systems awakened. They were about to find out exactly what his grandmother's legacy was capable of, whether they were ready or not. The Starchild moved through space like a predator through water, sleek, purposeful, and utterly alien. Through the neural interface, Marcus experienced their flight not as a series of navigational coordinates but as pure intention translated into motion. They weren't so much flying as willing themselves across the void. We've passed Mars orbit, Rin reported, checking readings on a holographic display that wrapped around her like a cocoon of light. Whatever signal the ship detected, it's pulling us toward the Kuiper belt. Marcus nodded, feeling the information flow through his connection with the ship. There's something out there. Something that's been waiting. He paused, sorting through the flood of alien thoughts and images. I think it's some kind of test. A test of what? Humanity. The word came not from Marcus but from a new voice, smooth, synthetic, yet oddly familiar. A figure materialized in the center of the chamber, translucent and glowing with soft blue light. Gran. Marcus whispered. The hologram smiled with Elena Reed's face. Not exactly. I'm an interface program your grandmother created before she died. A way to pass on what she learned, when the time was right. Rin stepped forward. Elena never told me about this. She couldn't risk it, the hologram explained. What she discovered out here, it changed everything. The Starchild isn't just a ship. It's one of 12 vessels sent to evaluate emerging civilizations. To determine if they're ready to join something greater. The ship's systems pulsed with confirmation, sharing images through Marcus's neural link, a vast network of alien civilizations, connected across galaxies, watching and waiting as new species reached for the stars. Ready for what? Marcus asked, though part of him already knew the answer. War. The hologram's expression darkened. There's something coming. Something that devours civilizations. The network exists to find allies strong enough to help fight it. Each candidate species is tested, their potential assessed. Those who pass are offered membership. Those who fail are left to face it alone, Rin finished. A new alarm blared through the ship. Multiple contacts appeared on the sensor displays, sleek vessels emerging from behind distant asteroids, their designs clearly not human. Observation craft, the Elena hologram identified them. They've been watching Earth for centuries, waiting for someone to find and activate the Starchild. Now the test begins in earnest. The alien ships accelerated toward them, their intentions unclear. Through the neural interface, Marcus felt the Starchild's weapon systems coming online, capabilities that defied his understanding of physics. "What kind of test is this?" he demanded. "What are we supposed to do?" "That's what your grandmother discovered," the hologram said. "It's not about military strength or technological advancement. It's about choice. About proving that humanity can think beyond itself. The network doesn't want conquerors or survivors. They want allies who understand that existence itself is cooperative." The alien vessels surrounded them in a complex geometric formation. Energy readings spiked as they powered up their systems. "They're not going to attack," Rin realized, studying their positioning. "They're creating a containment field. Holding us in place." A transmission cut through all frequencies, its message translating directly into concepts in Marcus's mind through the neural interface. "Attention human vessel. You have activated the Crucible Protocol. Your species evaluation begins now. Beyond this point lies the first trial. Choose to proceed or return to Earth. Be warned, either choice has consequences for your entire civilization." Marcus felt the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Through the neural link, he could sense the ship's knowledge of what lay ahead, challenges that would push him and humanity to their limits. "Your grandmother faced this same choice," the Elena hologram said softly. "She chose to proceed alone, to understand what humanity would face. She sacrificed everything to prepare the way for this moment." The alien ships waited, their containment field humming with enough power to vaporize the Starchild if they chose. But that wasn't their purpose. They were guardians, witnesses, judges. "We need a crew," Marcus said finally. "Real crew, not just the two of us. If this is about proving humanity can work together, we can't do it alone." Rin smiled. "I know some people. Good people who've been watching the stars, wondering if we're alone. People who'd give anything for a chance to prove humanity belongs out here. Can we trust them?" "Your grandmother trusted me," Rin pointed out. "Sometimes you have to take that leap." Marcus closed his eyes, feeling the ship's systems respond to his thoughts. The Starchild could get them back to Earth in minutes, giving them time to gather a crew before returning to face whatever trials waited in the darkness beyond Neptune. "Send your message," he told the alien vessels. "We choose to proceed, but on our terms. We'll return with a crew that represents the best of what humanity can be." The response came instantly, "Choice acknowledged. You have 14 Earth days to return. The trial chambers have waited millennia. They will wait 2 more weeks." As the containment field dissolved and the alien ships vanished back into the darkness, Marcus felt something new through his connection with the Starchild: approval. The ship had been waiting for someone to make exactly this choice. "Your grandmother would be proud," the Elena hologram said, beginning to fade. She believed humanity's greatest strength was its ability to face the unknown together. "Let's prove her right," Marcus replied, setting a course for Earth. They had 2 weeks to build a crew, master an alien vessel, and prepare to face challenges designed to test not just their abilities but their very nature as a species. The future of humanity would depend on what they found out there in the dark. Returning to Earth proved more challenging than leaving it. 3 different orbital defense platforms locked weapons on the Starchild before Rin managed to transmit the emergency clearance codes she'd maintained since Elena's days. Even then, they had to deal with a swarm of corporate surveillance drones trying to track their landing trajectory. "They're scared," Marcus observed through the neural link, feeling the ship's own analysis of the situation. "They don't understand what we are, so they're treating us as a threat." "Humans fear what they don't understand," Rin replied, expertly guiding them through a series of evasive maneuvers. It's why your grandmother kept the Starchild hidden for so long. But we don't have that luxury anymore. We need a crew, and that means taking risks. They landed in an abandoned quarry in the Australian outback, the Starchild's advanced camouflage systems rendering it virtually invisible to conventional sensors. Rin immediately began making calls through secure channels, reaching out to a network of contacts she'd cultivated over years of working with Elena. We need the best, she explained, but more importantly, we need the right kind of people. The ones who look at the impossible and see opportunity. The first to arrive was Dr. Kai Chen, a xenobiologist whose controversial theories about convergent evolution had gotten him laughed out of academia. He took one look at the Starchild's organic-mechanical hybrid systems and burst into tears of joy. I knew it, he whispered, running his hands along the living metal walls. Life finds patterns, repeats them across the cosmos. The separation between organic and mechanical is an illusion. Next came Maya Patel, a former military pilot turned spacecraft systems engineer. She'd been discharged for refusing to test experimental weapons on civilian targets. Her eyes lit up when she saw the ship's propulsion matrix. This isn't just advanced technology, she said. This is art. Whoever built this understood that beauty and function are the same thing at a fundamental level. The twins, Alex and Zara Rodriguez, arrived together. They were quantum computing specialists who'd spent the last 5 years developing AI systems capable of modeling consciousness itself. The Starchild's neural interface fascinated them. It's not just a control system, Alex observed, watching Marcus interact with the ship. It's a bridge between different types of consciousness. A translator between ways of thinking, Zara added. Like the ship is teaching us its language while learning ours. The final addition to their crew came as a surprise. James Chen, no relation to Kai, was a former Ascendant Technologies executive who'd resigned in protest over the company's increasingly aggressive alien artifact acquisition program. They're not just looking for technology anymore, he warned the group. They're preparing for war. They've convinced themselves that first contact will be hostile, so they're determined to strike first. The Starchild represents everything they fear, alien power they can't control. Marcus felt the ship's response to each new crew member through the neural link. The vessel wasn't just accepting them, it was adapting to them, creating interfaces tailored to their specific ways of thinking and working. We have 10 days left, he announced to the assembled crew. 10 days to learn how to operate technology we barely understand, prepare for tests we can't predict, and prove that humanity deserves a place among the stars. Meanwhile, we'll be hunted by corporations that want to weaponize this ship and governments that see us as a threat to planetary security. Don't forget the alien observers, Rin added. They're watching everything we do, judging how we handle each challenge. So the odds are against us, Maya said with a grin. Nothing new there. Kai was already setting up his research equipment. Think of what we could learn out there. The biological and technological insights alone could revolutionize our understanding of life itself. Assuming we survive, James cautioned. We'll survive, Marcus said firmly, feeling the ship's agreement resonating through the neural link. Because we're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing it for every human who ever looked up at the stars and dreamed of something more. Elena understood that. It's why she spent her life preparing for this moment. The Starchild systems hummed with power, responding to the collective purpose building among its new crew. Through the neural interface, Marcus glimpsed fragments of what awaited them, vast structures in the outer solar system, chambers of light and shadow, tests that would challenge not just their abilities but their very understanding of reality. Get settled in, he told his crew. Training starts now. We've got 10 days to become the team humanity needs us to be. As they dispersed to their assigned stations, Marcus felt the ship's approval. They'd chosen well. Now they just had to prove it to the watching universe. The Kuiper belt stretched before them like a curtain of ice and shadow, hiding the alien trial chamber somewhere in its vast expanse. 10 days of intensive training had transformed the Starchild's crew from a collection of talented individuals into something approaching a single organism, their movements and decisions flowing together with the ship's own consciousness. Multiple contacts, Maya called from her station, her fingers dancing through holographic displays. Same design as the observer vessels, but bigger. Much bigger. The alien ships emerged from behind distant asteroids, their crystalline hulls refracting starlight in impossible patterns. Through the neural interface, Marcus felt the Starchild's recognition of them. These weren't observers, but guardians of the trial chambers. They're transmitting, Zara announced, working with her brother to process the alien communications. Translating now. The message resolved in Marcus's mind through the neural link. The chambers await. Your species' trial begins. Be warned, what you find within will change you. Some who enter never return. Others return but are never the same. Encouraging, James muttered from his tactical station. Ascendant Technologies vessels detected at extreme range. They followed us. Let them watch, Marcus said. Maybe they'll learn something about what first contact should really look like. The Guardian ships formed a corridor of light, leading them deeper into the belt. As they followed, massive structures began to emerge from the darkness, ancient installations built into asteroids, connected by bridges of pure energy. At their center floated a sphere of what looked like liquid starlight, big enough to swallow Earth's moon. The primary trial chamber, Kai breathed, his sensors struggling to analyze its composition. It's not just technology. It's alive, on some fundamental level. The Starchild systems pulsed with recognition as they approached the sphere. Through the neural interface, Marcus felt the ship's memories of this place, carried across countless millennia and light years. This is it, he told his crew. Everything your grandmother discovered led to this moment, Rin added softly. The sphere opened like an iris, revealing a tunnel of shifting light that seemed to bend reality around it. As they entered, the ship's sensors went haywire, reporting contradictory readings about everything from their location to the nature of spacetime itself. Multiple realities, Alex reported, monitoring the quantum fluctuations. The chamber isn't just testing our actions, it's testing every possible version of us simultaneously. The tunnel deposited them in a vast space that defied comprehension. Above, below, and around them stretched an infinite lattice of light, each intersection containing what looked like a window into another world. Through the neural interface, Marcus understood, these were glimpses of humanity's possible futures. A presence manifested before them, not quite physical but more than holographic. It spoke not in words but in pure concept, translated through the Starchild systems. You stand at a crossroads. Your species approaches a moment of transformation. Show us your choice. The lattice shifted, resolving into 3 distinct paths. Through the neural interface, Marcus saw what each represented. The first path showed humanity as a military power, using the Starchild's technology to dominate the galaxy. They would survive the coming threat, but become what they fought against. The second offered isolation and safety, a return to Earth with their memories wiped, protected by the network but never truly part of it. The third path was the hardest to see, its windows showing countless possibilities, both beautiful and terrible. It offered no guarantees, only the chance to forge their own way forward. It's not just our choice, Marcus realized. We're choosing for all of humanity. Then we choose together, Maya said firmly. One by one, the crew voiced their thoughts, each perspective adding to their collective understanding. Kai spoke of life's endless adaptability. The twins discussed consciousness's quantum nature. James reflected on power's corrupting influence. Rin shared Elena's vision of humanity's potential. Through the neural interface, Marcus felt the Starchild itself joining their discussion, adding its ancient wisdom to their human insights. In that moment of perfect communion between human and alien minds, they made their choice. They chose the third path, the uncertain one. Not because it was safe, but because it was true to who they were. We choose to face the future on our own terms, Marcus announced to the presence. Not as conquerors or hidden children, but as partners. We'll face the darkness with you, but we'll do it our way. The lattice of light pulsed, and Marcus felt the chamber's approval. The test had never been about choosing the right path, it had been about how they made their choice. About proving that humanity could think beyond simple survival or dominance. Your grandmother chose the same path, Rin realized. She didn't fail the test. She was part of it. Proving that humans could look beyond their own fears and ambitions. The chamber began to dissolve around them, but not before sharing one final vision through the neural interface, a future where humanity joined the galactic network not as servants or masters, but as equals. A future they would have to build together. As they emerged from the sphere, the Guardian ships formed an honor guard around the Starchild. The Present spoke one final time. The trial is complete. Return to your world. Prepare your people. When the darkness comes, you will not face it alone. Marcus looked at his crew, no longer just a collection of individuals, but a family forged in the crucible of an impossible challenge. Through the neural interface, he felt the Starchild's contentment. They had proven Elena right. Humanity was ready for the stars. Take us home, he said. We've got a lot of work to do. The Starchild turned toward Earth, its systems humming with renewed purpose. They had passed the test, but the real challenge was just beginning. Somewhere out there, the darkness was coming. But humanity would face it standing tall, guided by the light of the stars they had finally proven they deserved to walk among.